Ghost Mogul. It's Mogul the Savant. Sit the fuck down. Class is in session. Think Mogul make money. I'm talking all that shit. Complaining. What you really doing though? We getting paid over here though. When I'm inside, I take the time. I don't know why you won't be mine. It's someone else.
Asperia, connecting emotions. Democratizing advertising solutions for emerging creators and brands.
A little word about what is Think Mogul. Many people ask, sometimes scratch their heads, and I welcome the unsureness. So let's say, what was it? December 2022, I had exited my software business that I had co-founded with someone called Asperia. Asperia is a platform that brands use to buy custom content for advertising campaigns. And at that time when I left the business, or more accurately, when I sold my part of the business, I asked myself, now what? I had bought myself a little bit of time to really do what I wanted and how I wanted. And I came to the realization that I was going to get back into music, but with one requirement, which was I was going to use myself as a blueprint that other creators around the world could use, so that in as little time as possible, they could start a new project with zero contacts, zero money, and start monetizing their skills almost immediately. And this inspiration came from someone that I follow named Grant Cardone, sales dude. Grant was on a show called Undercover Billionaire, and they dropped him in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, and he was not able to use any of his contacts, only his knowledge, to go from $100 in his pocket to a business that was worth multiples of millions in just 90 days. And when he first started out, it was pre-pandemic, and something like 2 or 3 weeks into it, the world gets shut down. And still, during the pandemic, he had to figure out how to create a multi-million-dollar business, and he did it. Now, there are people who try and argue like, oh, that's not real. I believe it. I watch how Cardone moves. He's
Facts.
a natural hustler.
Facts.
Truly came from nothing. And that then was the inspiration for my artist project, Mogul the Savant. And to put it simply, you have to first believe in who and what you are before someone else will buy into it. So I saw what I was able to do in the business world, creating my own company, raising money from investors, having customers, something that literally, when I was in Los Angeles pre-pandemic, I was dreaming of this platform, and I was writing it on my wall. Like, I would put up a white canvas board, and I on a later time, I'll show people these. I still have all my posters. I never throw this stuff away. I was ideating this, and I said, what if I apply everything that I've learned as a businessman to my artistic project and give people the blueprint to be able to do it for themselves? So I started out with Mogul D, and it wasn't about trying to really create a fan base. It was about making money. So I was doing very simple marketing and sales strategies, like standing up a Wix website, creating very basic words on the website, or copy as they call it, about my irresistible offer, which at the time was get a free performance, and the only thing you have to do is feed me and let me film it. Now, I knew for myself that I was only going to do that 7 to 10 times, but once I did that 7 to 10 times, now I have social proof of what I can do, and then now I can charge. And so I just documented those processes. I built spreadsheets, different Microsoft Word templates that later on you all will actually be able to access on the Think Mogul website that's coming soon, so that you can not become a part of Think Mogul, but go and build your own version of Think Mogul. And we can continue to all crowdsource this knowledge to be able to build sustainable business. And from that, the, let's say, pivotal moment that made me realize I needed to make Think Mogul bigger than just myself was when I got a group of friends together who have been here in Valencia, Spain. I've known them for 10 years now, and I realized that they were talking about finishing the same projects they've been saying for a decade. And I'm like, wow, they're not thinking mogul, because here's what I did. I got a group of us together. We went to this business suite that had a whiteboard, some nice comfortable chairs. I brought some pastries and shit. And I was like, I want you guys to come up to the board and write down all the things or reasons why you can't finish projects, aka be successful. And they wrote the obvious things like, well, I don't have enough money, or I work a job and therefore I don't have time, or I don't have a stylist or a photo editor or a copywriter or an app creator. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I had everyone come back up after, and I said, now write down all the skills that you've had to learn in pursuit of financing your dreams. Mind blown. I already knew this, but it was so surprising to me that they hadn't realized that they had all the skills in between themselves. And I said, what if you all, instead of trying to get a quick bag off of each other, you just work together to create some unique content, be it something like a podcast or some cool music videos or a series of songs, and then you're going to sell that to a brand. And you create for the brand, not for your own artist project, but you understand the identity of the brand and you create for them. And then that's when it really started to congeal and come to life. And so those were that was the birthing of Think Mogul as an actual accelerator for creators and the brands that they actually want to develop. And so here we are today. We're still, very homegrown, and the we evolves. I work a lot with interns from the different media production and business schools. So we always have fresh faces coming in that are doing filming, different types of production, marketing, sales, and also just starting to bring in more resources for creators. The full circle of all this is that just 1 month ago we announced finally the purchase of Asperio, and it was a really fucked up year for me, because that meant that I had to spend everything that I had to get my business back. And I got the business back because I understood that it was a tool that we can use in-house to keep getting to the bag. Because if anyone understands something called the hierarchy of needs, this is by Maslow.
Abraham
I don't
Maslow.
know Maslow's full name, but you have your levels of needs, and the most fundamental ones like food and shelter. If you don't have those secure, then you can't really plan. You can't think about the future. You can't create. And so when I say Think Mogul Make Money, it's not because I'm some super capitalist. It's because I understand that money solves a lot of things. And once you learn the mechanics of how to make money and why money moves the way that it does, you actually build other skills in the process that makes your life better, right? And then you can be more altruistic, and trying to help other people. But before you help anybody else, you got to help yourself.
Facts.
So that's where Think Mogul Makes Money comes from. And we're going to just keep bringing more resources. It's not just about an app. Think Mogul is a mindset that I hope will bless many people.
And that's one thing I've always appreciated about our relationship, because always from the beginning, you've always been about this concept ever since I first met you. Thinking about how to, help yourself be more independent and sustainable as an artist, as an entity by yourself. I mean, nobody does it by themselves, but I mean, without the help of a label or without the help of major financial backers who's going tell you what to do with your art. You were always, ever since I met you, always thinking about ways to like figure out, how can I do this? That's it. Like, how can I do this? Like,
yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't know that I knocked
Facts.
on a lot of those doors. And I'm quite plugged in the industry.
Right.
Like, I get the meetings. The closest I ever got was I had actually started to sign with Bertleman Music Group, BMG, 2017. That deal didn't go through. I learned later it was because I wasn't in the right headspace. It was someone who I do believe he had good intentions. He was brokering that deal, and he gave some information to the label rep. It's just like, he ain't, not right now. And looking back on it, I'm so grateful that I didn't get what I wanted, because I would have just had more access to further sabotage myself. Story for another time. But I also was signed to Pure Music Group, which is one of the biggest independent publishing companies in the world. And I've worked for Universal Music Group in supply chain distribution.
Would you have seen
Also
that?
the label
Did you
rep.
see that as a failure? How do you see that? Just
Which
the
one,
whole
about
process. in
BMG
general.
or about? No, man. Life was working for me. Like, man, this shit is so layered, because what I'm really trying to do through the pursuit of music and business is tell a much bigger narrative, which is about how to live the good life. Because I didn't realize that I have for many years been operating on bad programming. I have a lot of default code in my computer system that was enabling me to destroy myself. My mother, she had me when she was 15, and she used the tools that she had to raise me. And those tools were recycled code from people who also had children young and did the best what they had. And so things around, most important, like nutrition, I destroyed myself up into even recent years. Didn't realize I was predisposing myself for chronic illness because of the things that I was eating and,
Man, bro,
smoking, all this stuff.
I ate
not
Taco
sleeping
Bell
well.
yesterday for like the first time, and like
Your body
it's speaking
spoke
to me
you.
now. It's speaking to me.
I mean,
now.
it was delicious.
It's just the same concept, like just of like predisposing myself to like things that aren't necessarily the best for me or my body or my voice or my talent. Like when I say showing up for yourself, going back to the answer from earlier, it's also like your diet. That's so important. You are what you eat. That shit is real. Literally, your body is composed of everything you eat and like you consume. So
last night here at the compound on the farm, I was watching with one of the housemates. This guy named Brian, who is reversing his age through giving it, using algorithms to actually inform what he should eat, making every calorie fight to be a part, to be used. And one of the things that just came up through watching these videos was that if you're, when people say follow your gut, the brain-gut connection is informed by what you consume. Your emotions are literally created by what you eat. So if you're walking around in your day-to-day on autopilot, reacting to emotions, that means that you are making decisions based off of bad intel. You are not running your life correct. So if you want to improve your life, you need to improve what you consume. And that was just mind-blowing because I heard that in different ways, but to have it contextualized, and even like, another thing, he was on the Diary of a CEO podcast, and he was talking about, no, this was a different guy, ex-CIA dude, but it was still related. He was talking about how, like, the difference between perception and perspective. Whereas like perception is like the way that I'm seeing you, and then perspective is how you're seeing me. So me being able to take your perspective and look back at myself and use that as information to make better decisions. All of this is to say that my ultimate goal really is to take everyone on a much longer journey that could take 10, 15 years and goes much beyond Think Mogul, which is just like, hey, you are in pursuit of something. You might be using wrong information and not realizing that what you're pursuing isn't the actual thing that you're trying to pursue. So I start by using the thing I know the most, which is entertainment, music, business, and trying to just reach people and be like, here are things that I wish I knew 15 years ago, because I could have gotten ahead of a lot of it and not be in the position that I'm in today.
It's all paying it forward at this point, for sure.
Got to pay it forward, man. So let's move into another question, because we're coming up on the time here, and I want to make this as neutral rich as possible for everyone. Tell us about a time you failed at something.
So love this question. I think about it every week. There's a few moments where I felt like I failed, and I think about them consistently. I was young. I was in high school at the time, and I was in a college prep program called Upward Bound. And what we would do is we would visit all these colleges, and they also paid us for good grades. It was incredible. I loved it. You got a stipend. Every time you got your grades, and if your grades were good, you get paid. So like, that was the best program. And then they took us to colleges. They basically like, it was the best program, Upward Bound. I don't even know if it exists.
Shout out to Upward Bound.
That program, really got me thinking about, school, and thinking about higher education, and thinking about, just getting out of my hometown and do something different. Anyway, one of the guys that worked for the director of the program also worked on a radio station, worked on the soul R&B radio station in Greensboro, North Carolina, which was like next door to Danville, like 40-minute drive, like the major city next door. So man, anyway, fast forward, we on the radio. We had a talent show, at the Upward Bound program, the summer program I was staying at. We had a talent show, and I thought, and I lost the talent show, but I thought I shouldn't have. I thought I should have won. So the radio host, who was also the director, was like, "Hey, what we can do? Let's just do it live right now on the radio." So it was me versus another young lady, and another young lady. She had a smooth voice, real cool. Nothing real special. I mean, her voice was smooth, but it was like nothing that's gonna blow you away. She's not belting, not Jennifer Hudson or nothing like that. She just, chill with it. Mm-hmm. But she sung a gospel song, and me, I was in my horny little teenager vibe. So all I'm thinking about, what I'm thinking about. So I did "Let's Get It On" by Marvin Gaye. Horrible choice, because you think about it, like most of the audience, right, create with the audience in mind. This is why I was a failure. Because most of the audience was like people's my mom age, people, not my age. It was voting. The audience called in and voted, and so I had to watch I had to listen to myself lose. And so I lost. And I realized, later, I always realized looking back, it was like, I don't know if it was the talent. I think it was the song. I think nobody wanted to hear this young man sing about "Let's Get It On" the radio, especially when his counterpart did a gospel song. So it was like, I was bound to lose. You can't beat Jesus. You can't be. Even
so
Jesus
what did
can't
you take
beat Marvin
from
Gaye.
that?
I mean, even Marvin Gaye can't beat Jesus. This is what I took from it. Audience, man.
Depends on the audience,
think about your audience always. I've always, and from then on, I've always very much so thought about the audience before every show. Like, who's gonna be there, what type of people, and what type of vibe are they expecting, and what can I, and how can I make that fit what I do? So that's something.
Yeah. I love that. You were able to answer several questions at once. I love that, because you, number one, got into, how do you I love that question because you're able to answer multiple things at once. And one of them was, obviously telling us about a time that you failed, but you also were able to answer on the backside of that the lesson that came from that, which is awareness. Knowing the person that you're trying to actually connect with. And I think that in a lot of ways, that's what business is. In the context of business, that's what sales and marketing is. It's like resonating with the people and being as specific and niche as possible. Because this ties back to something you said earlier, which I loved. You were talking about, well, this is what the corporations do. This is branding. And I was trying to kind of pull to the surface something more base, which is psychology. And psychology comes down to also our cognitive ability to make decisions. I went to the grocery store yesterday, and I had gotten so used to just, having groceries delivered to the house in the center. So going back into the store was so stimulating. And when it came down to me choosing, all right, like, which tofu do I buy? Which avocados do I get? Which beans do I buy? It was like I had to default to what I've seen the most or what I've already used. And so the more specific that you are as an artist, it gives you the ability to help someone who in a moment's notice, if they're going to Spotify, they're like, okay, what mood am I in right now? I'm in lovemaking mood. All right, Marvin Gaye. Or do I want to feel uplifted? Okay,
nice.
CeCe Winans, right?
Bruh, that's so big. Man, like, I listen to this guy. I get a lot of music marketing advice from this guy named Damian Keys. Love him. And
Damian.
And one thing he talks about is creating avatars. Smart Rapper talks about this too. Talks about creating avatars, like giving your target audience a face and a name. What do they look like? What do they drive? Where do they go? Where do they hang out? What do they, so and that's branding, that's market, that's psychology. Like if you know the type of people that listen to your music, what they like to do, where they like to go, then you can put your music in those types of places.
Well, I think you have a superpower having lived in Asia, because you also can see how a product that is marketed in one way in a
yes sir I saw that in so many different ways, especially living in Asia. You see how, again, I go back to McDonald's because everybody knows McDonald's, but everybody knows McDonald's. That's the point. Like, there's a reason why everybody knows McDonald's, because they figured a lot of this stuff out. And there were certain products they didn't sell in Asia. And I hated it. I hated it. But they knew better than me, because, a lot of Chinese people are lactose intolerant. So, they got to switch up the cheese. They got to do it a little different. So a lot of the cheese.
Yeah, I was with the operations director for a chain that you'll know here called Lil Thai, and she was explaining to me the other night. She was like, "No," she asked me like straight, like, "What do you think about Lil Thai?" And I was like, "Number one, it's overpriced for what you get, and second, it is, it's, to me, it's not really Thai food." And she's like, "You're absolutely right, and it's for a reason." She's like, "This is how the Spanish people like Thai food." She said, "If we made Thai food the way that it is, the way that I love," because she actually she's from Wuhan. She's like, they wouldn't eat it. Number one, it'd be too spicy. Second, there's certain ingredients is really hard to source.
And then some of the smells too. Some of the smells they wouldn't. Because there's some Thai sauces that they are funky. but they're delicious. But they are funky.
Yeah, that
is 100% true. It's 100% true.
That makes
like,
so much sense.
I mean, it's regional in a way, but yeah, you just gotta create for your audience, man. Like, sorry to move.
So let's talk about a hack on that, because you know this, but people watching may not. So I have several different artist projects, and I keep them quite separate for obvious reasons. So I have Devontae, which, on Spotify, Devontae, across all the streaming platforms, I've reached something like 25 million streams. And then I have my project Mogul the Savant. Mogul the Savant is quite new. It's been around for about a year. And we just officially started releasing music.
Let's go.
Like a week ago.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited because
check it out,
I've been
please.
waiting.
Save
I've been
my
waiting.
Spotify. Yeah, those songs
I've been waiting.
they've been piling up this time. I have also Mogul the African, which is an American African's journey back home. Emphasis on American African. I'm an American type of African, not an African type of
Ultra
American.
Vase is out. Let's go.
So, yeah, Ultra Vase is out. We dropped it. And shout out to Rap Mamdao, my brother from Africa, he lives in Tenerife. But yeah, we got him on the second verse. It's my first official Spanish song. I wrote it entirely, and I did not use ChatGPT to help me write it. So, it took me 10 years to be able to truly write a Spanish song. Yeah, no, not at all. But, I just want to put it out there.
Straight raw.
I put in the work to be able to write in Spanish. I use ChatGPT every day. Shout out to you. I'll get that ChatGPT before if I don't got it. I know you do, Adrian.
Bro, I use it for everything.
I know you got it.
Everything. That's another topic for another day. I could AI.
Yeah, we're good.
When you want to have the AI music conversation, if you want to have the AI productivity, social media, music marketing conversation, like let me know. I'm ready for that one.
I know you're the guy. Like we're looking forward to you doing master classes, man.
I could do a whole ChatGPT music marketing masterclass for sure. For sure.
We're gonna do it. It's coming up then. So,
yes,
I do have these different projects, and what it gives is the ability to, in very focused manners, figure out what's resonating. Like, people don't even know this, but, like, I even have a music cooking show that's now live on TikTok called That's Gourmet. And I came up with this idea for That's Gourmet back in 2017 in grad school, and tried it out in different formats, and some of them, the formats were, like, too complex. The original format was with counterpart of mine named Brie Madone, really dope DJ from Brazil. She's also a producer here in Valencia. And it was like her and I heard like DJing, throwing out beats, and me freestyle singing and rapping. And we had a guest who's like preparing a dish from their country, and we'd have to be talking shit about fashion and music while we're making. It was just like, it was a circus. It was a lot of fun, but very unsustainable. And then I tried out a different format, a lot simpler. 1-minute songs, me just choosing a beat from YouTube that I love, and singing about the dish that I'm preparing, and that format works. I also have another content hustle that's about sunsets, and just filming a lot of beautiful sunsets throughout the city, and always using my songs, but never telling people like, go listen to this song. It's just music is the backdrop. Like so many different content plays that go beyond.
How do you balance all that?
Hey, I'm an artist. Like, listen to my song. Really great production trackers, and I have help. I have partners. So what I do is I go to interns at production schools, and I'm like, hey, we're going to build this channel together, and you're going to get X percentage. We're going to build all the merch around. Like, for example, with That's Gourmet. Now we have the That's Gourmet hats, which is like a chef hat with a baseball cap bill on it. We have the aprons. Later we'll do a tabletop cooking book recapping all the recipes we've done. We'll do mugs, so they get percentages of that. So getting buy-in in that way. So by channel or by content type, building a little production team.
So I'm hearing you say basically start with people, try to find people who are hungry, who are learning. Develop projects in a way where they're mutually beneficial, even if you're not making money from the beginning. Always creating with that.
Yep.
The concept of how can we monetize this.
And be very generous and like the monetization, make it happen as fast as possible.
Right. Start from the beginning.
Like get the MVP. Yeah, we made very quick prototypes, and my kitchen from the last place, beautiful place to do some kitchen content, and we just first shot it on 2 iPhones, tested it out with the audience. It like 10x views on what my content from my artist account was doing. I was like, okay, this works. And then we make the production more serious.
Every good online platform started with 2 iPhones. For real.
Yeah, for real. And then I took it to, here's the play though.
Yep.
Then I took it to a brand, a cosmetic brand that Think Mogul was already working with. I'm like, hey, will you sponsor ads for this channel, for That's Gourmet? And I'm like, yeah, sure. All right. So now I just place their product every time and give them a shout out. So, you know, those type of things, when I say Think Mogul, that's what it's about. I want to make sure we don't deviate too much, but we were talking about avatars, and I just wanted to really comment on that. Like, a lot of people are overthinking this and thinking that you need a lot to get started. There's so much you can do. Like, I bought this microphone back in 2013 when I was at Berklee College of Music in Boston. And this mic and this sound card has traveled to so many countries with me, has made me hundreds of thousands of dollars. Probably at this point, like, this motherfucking setup has made me like $500,000 over the years, without like no exaggeration. So use the basic tools that you have, test fast, iterate, stop making fucking excuses, give yourself a chance, because here's a really important thing I want to get out of this, is that when you start to question, am I good enough for this? Should I do this? Should I get up today and make this content? Remember what's at stake. Remember that you creating, you making a video, you making a song could be that one thing that reaches one person that prevents them from going over the edge. Or let's talk about the affirming the positive. It could be that impetus, that force that gets them to go and start also creating, and that can change someone else's life. So you're always paying it forward. Right? I want to ask also, so we talked about your upbringing. We talked about your big inspirations. I know one of the other inspirations is obviously your mother, your wife. It's important to mention the powerful women in our lives, because they don't get the credit that they should. So that's important. Now, could you break it down to us? So if someone says, I want to be a full-time content creator, what's your response to them?
How do you make money? Like, how do you make money? That's my first response, because it's like, all right, the content game is a long game. It's a long play. And so you have to be able to sustain yourself while you make this long play. And you can do that with your art, or you can do that with things that are adjacent to your art. I prefer the second. I prefer using your art skills in a way that can make money, pretty easily. I guess not easily, but okay. For example, if you are a photographer, right, and you want to take pictures of sunsets, like this is the art that you want to be, like this is your niche. Sunset pictures might not pay a lot of money, or maybe they do. But what does pay a lot of money, portraits for business professionals. So, like, all right, you spend 3 to 4 hours a day taking portraits for business professionals. Now you got 12 other waking hours in your day to work on producing content, right?
Facts.
But you took those four give you enough income to support the other 12 hours where you're not making as much money. You know what I'm saying? So that's why doing something adjacent that's like, all right, and you keeping your skills up, you keeping, like it's an adjacent skill. Like, no, it's not a picture of a sunset, but you're using your camera, you're using your skills and every skill that you learn, and you getting portfolio.
You're getting portfolio.
So for me, I'm a writer.
And if you're smart,
so like I'm a songwriter, but I'm a writer at the end of the day. And I write SEO for a marketing firm. That's my day job. I do that 2 to 4 hours.
Yep. Break that. Some people
search engine
SEO
optimization.
So
that's a great thing to learn. As anybody that's on the internet, it's important to know what search engine optimization is. Search engine optimization is a way that you can get your website and or your products to pop up in search when people search for them. So like in search, you get the sponsor results. Those are people that pay for it. So those first three to four things that pops up when you Google something, those are the paid spots. But then all those other spots are based on ACO, which is Google and or search's system to figure out, all right, what is the most valid answer to this question. So like you got a question like, oh, I need a singer in Valencia for my wedding. Now, good SEO means that either Mr. Mogul D or Mr. Adrian Black, one of us is gonna pop up when you search that. Hopefully we do, because you know, we are singers in Valencia, especially if you're looking for soul R&B things of that nature.
And there's a component to that people should know about, which is keywords, which sounds like another masterclass in the works. And you know, by the way, you know, I always believe in planting seeds for the future and thinking mogul. You know, when you say the content game is a long strategy, I love being transparent. I have a longer play here by you know, even doing this podcast. Like every conversation that I have is informing the online knowledge pool, which someday will have so much knowledge and value to it that I'd be able to have a membership and people can come in and search topics and, you know, see.
And you're establishing yourself as an authority too.
Coming on here.
Yeah, you establish every time you produce a piece of content, you establish. So this is going back to the long play, back to your original question. If you ask me what it'd be to be a full-time content creator, I would say, you know, have some income. That's the first step. So then you can take the rest of your time to parlay your life into content. Like parlay your life into content. So what is your life? Like for me, I got 3 daily readers I read every day. That's my first piece of content I put up every morning. I take these 3 daily readers that I read, I freak them into a way that there's a little thread, a little tweet that I then post. I screenshot that, and then I take a picture of I take pictures on my daily walks, another piece of content. Like I'm walking every day, I see something cool, I take a picture of it, and then I take that tweet, put it on top of that picture, put an instrumental behind it, and that's a piece of content that I post every day. And some people come to my page every day. And
and you're consistent.
I'm not as consistent as I want to be. Like I didn't do today yet. Yeah.
But you know what's funny though?
Right.
It looks consistent
I miss
to
days.
everyone else. Because even if you miss 2 or 3 days, they still seen enough to like, oh yeah, he that guy that's always posting that inspirational quote.
And so like that's a piece of my normal life that I had to like parlay into content. Every show, I set up the camera, and it doesn't always look great. It's not always great audio, but it's a piece of content, you know, and like your audience will grow with you, and they want to grow with you. They want to see the bad content. They want to see the high quality stuff. They want everything. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, curate, you know, their social media persona, and they're really good at like, all right, I only want to show the best stuff. And I can get behind that. I see the value in that. But I also see the value in showing everything, the whole journey. And that's more my approach. Because, like, again, I'm parlaying my life into content. So, like,
Yeah, and I think that also sets you up later to be able to really be your authentic self. Because what happens when you go with a highly curated approach, once you pop off, that's the only thing that people really accept from that point. And that's really hard to scale. It can be very expensive. And also, if it's not a real reflection of your everyday life, you're going to be living a double life and you're going to get burned out. So I think it's better to stay true, let people see behind the veil. And when you do show the polished things, they're like, damn, he's
and like they growing. Like, oh, and then people see the growth. Like people see like, oh, snap, like this is dope. And they won't be afraid to tell you. People be like, yeah, I've been watching your stuff. Like, this is dope right here.
Yeah. And this is another thing as well. I had to learn to not take the silence personal, because people, like I even noticed it in myself. I'm like, oh, I love to just scroll, and even some of the stuff that I like the most, I don't even really interact with, but people I watch it and it gives me
one
something.
thing.
So
Nikki said, Nikki, she works for E.T. the hip hop preacher. It's a big Nikki and Moose, big on social media.
Oh yeah,
and she talks about you never post the content, nobody sees it. Like, how often do you get 0 views on a reel? You know, like how often do you get 0 views on a TikTok? It's like, doesn't happen. Somebody sees it. Somebody sees it always.
Somebody sees it.
So my advice.
So
I just want to like sum up what I said to
yeah.
answer that question, because it was such an important question. You want to be a full-time content creator. Figure out a consistent stream of income that's adjacent to what you're doing, and so you're always practicing and building your skills, and then parlay your everyday life into content. Set up your space to look like content. Like every little piece of your space can be a piece of content.
Absolutely.
You can just set up your mic and just go off.
Yep. For sure. Yeah, and this is I would also add to that, do it for free. When you realize that your music, your videos, your photos are laying the foundation for something bigger later on, because Spotify and Apple Music is giving away for free anyways. They're giving people 3-month trials on the back of your content. So because they know that if people get used to having an everyday life, that friction when it comes time to let go of them, like, ooh, but I like this a lot. I don't want to see it leave. So if you're giving away content for free for 3 months, and all the while being smart, collecting emails, phone numbers, and channeling those people into an environment you own, then you will be able to say, hey, now how about I create exclusively for you, and you contribute $15, $20 a month, and you're going to get stuff other people don't. So give it away for free. Also, because it gives you experience, it gives you catalog. Before we go, I do believe in paying it forward. And I find different ways with every participant to be able to find a way to pay it forward, and supporting those other areas of your life. If you are in Valencia on the 13th, so this upcoming weekend, and if you're available, I'd love to have you come out to do a paid DJ set for an event. We're doing this hip-hop battle. I've worked with you before. You've done DJing with Think Mogul for some different brands and things, and you bring the vibe. So you don't have to give me the answer, but I just want to put it out there. We're always trying to find ways to support. And maybe you
I'm DJing. I need all of my
another
DJ
DJ
gigs.
who you can pass out.
I mean, we talked about multiple
Okay,
streams of
cool.
income,
All
right?
So it's on.
That it leads to that, right? So as an artist, as a creative, you can't just like put yourself in a box. You gotta continue to develop your skills. You ain't gotta do shit. But it's nice when you continue to develop your skills. So like, remember you talked about all those people that these skills I don't have. Well, you can develop these skills. You can do an internship. You can just learn on YouTube. Yeah. It depends on your learning style.
Don't underestimate the power of jumping in someone's DM. I hit up the creative director for Deezer and asked him to come on this podcast, and he agreed. And he's the ex-brand director for Beats by Dre, Apple, Nike. His name is Esblain. Anyone want to check him out? So drop into those DMs. The internet is fucking insane.
Everything.
You can reach people. Okay, everything is accessible to you. Mr. Adrian Black, before we go,
AdrianBlackShowman.com, Adrian Black Showman on Instagram. Those would be the two places. Adrian Black at AdrianBlackShowman.com. Email, and you find me in Valencia. A-Trick, awesome. VLC, that's the band.
A-Trick is the livest show that I've seen. Literally, when A-Trick came to town, I was like, you know what?
He's just like, you know what? I'm just going to
I'm not about to try and compete with this motherfucker.
A-Trick is the gang.
Take these shows.
And yeah, we everywhere. Crazy. So definitely on Instagram, holla at me. But I'm on all platforms, and that was another way. So be on all platforms or just be on one. Repurpose.io. If you got 200, if you got 230 bucks, you can get on all platforms.
It's worth it. Yeah. If any of you watching ever wants a one-on-one time with Mr. Adrian Black or myself, this is also a channel for you to be able to invest in getting leveling up, and you can definitely look into doing a paid session, because it's not just about the money, but it's also about you investing in yourself. You can't get something for nothing. So hopefully this conversation today was nutrient rich for you all and has inspired you to take
bless y'all, man. Just keep going. Show up for yourself. Again, that's what it's all about. Consistency. Show up for yourself.
Yeah.
And just Think Mogul, make money.
Think Mogul, make money. Thank you so much, you all. All right, brother.
Yeah, man.
That was beautiful.
Ghost Mogul. It's Mogul the Savant. Sit the fuck down. Class What you really doing though? We getting paid over here. When I'm inside, I take my time. I don't know why you want